Okay, let's dive right into this. Picture this. You've got a glowing celestial chariot cruising through the heavens, carrying four of the most powerful kings in ancient history and one legendary sage. Today's explainer takes us deep into a seriously captivating story straight out of the Mahabharata. What starts off as a heavenly joyride with these four great rulers, Ashtaka, Pratardana, Vasumanas, and Sivi, along with the celestial Rishi Narada, well, it quickly turns into a high-stakes, deeply philosophical countdown. We're talking about a literal countdown to figure out the true nature of virtue.
So as they're riding along, these kings are feeling pretty good about themselves. They know they're blessed with incredibly long lives, and honestly, they assume they possess pretty much every virtue in the book. So feeling confident, they toss a really fascinating question over to the sage Narada: who will fall from heaven first? It's a bold move, right? They're essentially asking, out of all of us seemingly perfect elite rulers, who is actually the least virtuous? And Narada, he doesn't hold back. His answers kick off this intense countdown that completely redefines what true virtue is, and honestly, what it absolutely isn't.
Which brings us to the flaws of charity, looking at three of these kings and their three respective downfalls.
Now, on the surface, Ashtaka, Pratardana, and Vasumanas all seem like the absolute epitome of generosity. But Narada points out that each of them harbors this deeply relatable, very human flaw that basically ruins their good deeds. First up, Narada says King Ashtaka is going to be the first to fall. Why? Well, pure ego. Ashtaka once showed Narada thousands of these beautiful, colorful kine, cows, and when the sage asked whose they were, Ashtaka just couldn't help himself. He proudly boasted, "Oh, I have given away these kin." Boom! His charity was completely erased by his desperate need for praise. Next up to fall is Pratardana. This guy gave away his chariot horses one by one to some demanding Brahmanas until he was literally pulling the chariot himself. Sounds great, right? Except he complained loudly about it the entire time. It's basically the ancient equivalent of deeply passive-aggressive charity. He gave, sure, but with so much resentment. And finally, we have Vasumanas, whose massive flaw was making empty promises.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that to truly wrap our heads around Vasumanas' downfall, we've got to understand this ancient religious rite known as swastivakana. This was a ceremony involving stewed boiled rice to invoke divine blessings. Kings would often perform it right before exhibiting these highly coveted, celestial flowery cars that they'd procured through some seriously expensive rituals. This wasn't just a casual event, this was a moment of immense top-tier high status and divine favor. The whole point was to show off a ruler's massive, overwhelming prosperity to everyone watching.
And that sets the stage for Vasumanas' colossal mistake. So Narada visits Vasumanas during one of these big swastivakana ceremonies. Narada looks at the flowery car, praises it, and the king grandly declares, "Let this car be thine." Sounds incredibly generous. But here's the catch. Narada visits 2 more times, praises the car each time, and the king promises it again. But on that third visit, the king just looks at Narada and flat out says, "Thou hast praised the flowery car sufficiently." Like, enough already. He acknowledged the praise, sure, but he never actually handed over the keys to the chariot. He loved the applause, but totally hated the actual act of giving. It was 100% performative, a flaw of empty promises that literally cost him his place in heaven.
That leaves us with Sivi's unthinkable test and what absolute sacrifice really looks like.
Okay, so this leaves just one king left on the chariot, King Sivi. The remaining kings turn to Narada, wondering who's next on the chopping block, and the celestial sage drops a massive bombshell. He confesses that even he, the immortal Rishi himself, would fall from heaven before Sivi. No way, right? Well, to understand why Sivi's virtue is just completely untouchable, we have to look at this totally unimaginable test he goes through. A Brahmana comes to Sivi asking for food. When Sivi asks what he should prepare, the Brahmana makes a downright horrifying demand. Sivi must kill and cook his own son, Vrihadgarma. And here's the wild part. Sivi doesn't even flinch. With absolute unwavering stoicism, he does it. He prepares the meal, places this heavy vessel on his own head, and walks right out into the city to find the Brahmana and serve him. No ego, no bargaining, and absolutely zero complaints.
But guess what? The Brahmana is not even close to finished. While Sivi is walking through the streets searching for him to deliver this unimaginable meal, he gets word of what the Brahmana's up to. In this massive fit of apparent wrath, the Brahmana is out there indiscriminately setting fire to Sivi's entire world. We're talking the treasury, the arsenal, the royal apartments, the stables holding all the elephants and horses. Literally everything Sivi rules over is being violently reduced to ashes. And it's being done by the very man he is currently trying to serve.
Now, let's be real. Any normal person would completely break at this point. They'd give in to blinding anger, seek revenge, or just collapse in total despair. But Sivi? Hearing that his entire kingdom is literally burning to the ground, he approaches the Brahmana without even a change in color. His demeanor is perfectly chillingly steady. He simply presents the food and says, "O Holy One, the food has been cooked." He has so completely conquered his own ego and his wrath. He isn't attached to his wealth, his kingdom, or his pride in the slightest.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real turning point of the story. The Brahmana looks at the food, turns to Sivi, and tells him to eat it himself. Sivi cheerfully agrees and actually prepares to take a bite. But right at that exact moment, the illusion totally drops. The Brahmana stops him, finally revealing himself to actually be Vidhatri, the creator himself, who just came down in disguise to test the royal sage. Vidhatri proudly declares that Sivi has fully conquered wrath, and then, miraculously, he restores Sivi's son. He brings him back perfectly unharmed, fragrant like a child of the gods. Sivi had just passed the ultimate test of detachment.
Which perfectly brings us to the core of all this, the true meaning of virtue.
After the creator disappears, Sivi's counselors are, as you can imagine, absolutely stunned. Think about it. Ashtaka fell because of his pride, Pratardana because of his resentful complaining, and Vasumanas because of his vanity. But Sivi's absolute sacrifice elevated him precisely because he removed his self from the equation entirely. When his counselors ask him why he went through all of this, his answer is just incredible. It becomes the absolute cornerstone of this entire mythological lesson. He tells them it was not for fame, nor for wealth. The path which is trodden by the virtuous is laudable. My heart always inclineth towards such a course. He didn't perform his duty to get a reward, or to look good in front of some famous sage, or to buy VIP tickets into heaven. He did it simply because it's the right path. True virtue is completely, 100% free of ego and expectation.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, we arrive at the absolute core takeaway from this ancient text. Ashtaka, Pratardana, and Vasumanas definitely did good deeds, yeah? But those deeds were permanently tainted by what they secretly got out of them. Sivi, on the other hand, gave absolutely everything, without expecting a single thing in return, not even a pat on the back. It leaves us with a really powerful question to reflect on today. Are your good deeds truly for others, or are they really just a reflection of your own ego? Because when we finally strip away the desire for fame, or wealth, or even just a simple thank you, what is actually left of our generosity? It's a pretty challenging and timeless thought to carry with you. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.